Alright, welcome back everybody to day 19. My brother fucked me up. He gave me a call in the middle of my recording. And I lost all my progress because I unpaused my game and all my Pikmin drowned. No, I'm just joking. It didn't actually happen. But fuck you, Greg! I know you're watching. Fuck you. So we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do this good this time. We're not gonna do this bad. We're gonna start out by pulling some blue Pikmins. We're gonna take down that wall. Alright, let's take our Pikmins. We got all the Pikmins out, great. Go Pikmins. By the way, Greg, please don't be mad at me. I'm not mad at you. Please don't be mad. I love you. Not sure why there's honey here. I know I've been mining for honey in the last episode and other areas, but like the area before this one. But like, I don't know why there's honey here. I didn't figure that out, or I didn't read that part of the manual or something. I don't know. Go Pikmins. I'll walk around here. Let's throw you guys here. I hate everything. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Pikmin. Let's go! Go Pikmins! As I may have mentioned in the past, I am a big fan of the college footfalls. I really like it, but every time I see an article, they always the same every year, and it's just like, you know, like a dick measuring contest, best way I could put it. But you know, they'll do this horse shit where they'll go, which of the conferences is the best conference or the strongest conference? The answer to the question is it's always the SEC. Why is it the SEC? Because that's what I say. You know, and it certainly the way they finish most of their seasons, you can't really, from year in and year out, you can't really argue. You know, where, I mean, you look at the Big Ten. Who's won the national title? You know, Ohio State. Okay. Who else? That's it. Okay. Okay. How about you know, when we're talking the last 20 years, we'll just say, okay. So this frog is fucking me up again. You know, so, you know, obviously they have an argument. Jesus Christ, Chris. Alright. Let's try again. Let's not suck so hard. Alright. So anyways, I mean, I'm trying to argue against this fact that they're not the best conference, but they clearly are. You get tired of it. It's just like, for me, it's just lazy. Who's the strongest conference? Well, you could have a really, really excellent conference, whether it be the ACC or the Big Ten, the Pac-12, the Big 12, or the SEC. But I mean, at the end of the day, how many teams have competed for a national title? I mean, there've been a handful of teams that have, at one point or another, been in a national title hunt race in the last 20 years. Okay, for these conferences. But they've all pretty much, in terms of the different conferences, boiled down to a couple schools. Recently, ACC, Clemson. But you also had Florida State in the 2000s, and Miami was pretty dominant in the 80s and 90s, and they had one in 2001, I think. Okay? After that, Virginia Tech sniffed one, but never won it. And then, again, the Big Ten. Okay, so who's played the national title? Ohio State. Who's won a national title? Ohio State. Michigan's made it to the playoffs, but they've never won a national title, at least not since, 97, 98, or whenever they won their last national title. Okay. ND, Notre Dame, even though they're not in a conference, have been pretty much, they've been, I hate to say this, but they've been essentially a tier 2 school. They might sniff a national title like Michigan did at one point or another, but they've never actually, been on that dominant level where they really should have been in the dance. You know what I mean? They've sort of been a step behind your Alabamas, your USCs, your Oklahomas, your Texases. But getting back to my point, you could have a conference where, we'll pick the Pac-12 for just a second, okay? You could have a season where USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, Utah, let's just throw Utah in there, and maybe one other school, are legitimately having really great seasons. Are they all good? Are they all going to play in the national title? No, they're not all going to play. They're not all going to compete because they're going to play each other, and eventually someone's going to lose. Okay, that's great. But at the end, at the end of the year, you could have a couple really solid teams in the same conference that, all win 10 plus games, including their bowl game. Okay. And at the end of the day, they're, the season's going to end. People are going to be like, wow, that was a really exciting season. But they're not going to get the credit that they deserve because, the SEC is, in the last 20 years, has had the following champions. Multiple Alabama championships. Multiple Georgia championships. Multiple LSU championships. Multiple Florida championships. Okay, Auburn's won. So right off the bat, here, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, LSU. That's five different teams that have all won a national title in the last 20 years, and they didn't just one off it. Like Alabama's won under Saban. What, 3 or 4? Georgia's got at least. Well, Georgia has 2 at least. LSU's has at least 2 to 3. I know that Florida had the 2 on when Tebow was playing with them. Alabama or Auburn has at least 1 or 2 in that time period. And so, I mean, you can very much say that, yeah, the SEC is the dominant until such time that, the other conference starts stepping up. But it becomes a sort of a reinforcing concept where, you say, well, I think the SEC is the best. So particularly when you had the BCS and there's only 2 teams going, you're more likely, because there's this understanding the SEC is the most difficult, you end up producing... they're dead. You end up producing a situation where, because you're giving a bias to that conference then gets an opportunity to play in the national title. So, you know, when it comes down to two teams and you're giving a bias towards the SEC conference, they're more likely to play. And then at the very worst, you have a 50-50 shot of winning a national title when every year you're putting an SEC school into the national title game. So, you know, I understand, you know, you could have one of the greatest Texas teams of all time, or one of the greatest Ohio State teams of all time. And no, that's not a 50-50 flip a coin, that team wins over the SEC school. I get that. But, I don't know. It's irritating because when there's this known bias towards a conference, the only way to really prove you start to hear this conversation, well, does a one-loss LSU team belong in the playoffs over an undefeated whoever? And for me, default answer is always gonna be, I don't care what conference you play in. You know, if your strength of schedule says that you're good enough and you're undefeated, you get in. That's my thought. And I mean, I'm not really interested in a college football 16-team playoff because, you know, I'm sort of like the NFL. It's just, did you peak at the right time? So, you know, you go, let's say you're number one Alabama. You've got one of the best teams that you've had in 20 or 30 or 40 years, and your quarterback breaks his leg in the first game of the playoff, which I understand it could happen in a championship game or whatever, but my thought is this: you know, if you're gonna have Alabama or LSU or whoever play, you know, an Ohio State this week, and next week they're playing USC, and then the week after that they got to play, say, I don't know, we'll just say to Georgia or Texas, you know, someone maybe in their conference, or maybe like a Texas. So you've just gone sort of through a gauntlet where you've got to play the best team in the Big Ten and one of the best teams, say, from the Pac-12. It's a grueling thing. It becomes more difficult to determine who the best team truly is. And then, as a follow-up to that, you start getting the idea that certain teams should be dominant. So, you know, when they talk about the ACC, they're looking at 2 to 3 teams. And again, you have to sort of prove, you end up proving this, because if you're my alma mater, Pitt, if you're Pitt and you win 9 games every season, you're not quite at that elite level, okay? But if you start winning 11 games every season, and you start making these really high-profile games really close, and you start smoking people in your bowl games, that, you know, you're clearly heads and tails of better than they are, or you get a decent matchup where you're playing in like a Sugar Bowl or something, and you get to play like the 3rd best team in the SEC or the 2nd best team in the Pac-12 or something, and you go out and just stomp them, yeah, your credit's gonna go up. But in the ACC, they're looking for the following teams: Miami, who hasn't been relevant since 2001 in my opinion; Florida State, which they had a weird, I want to call it a fluky national championship not that long ago, but they've been up and down and in and out and all around. And Clemson has been sort of the leader in the conference, but I mean, they run into the Pitt Panthers, and they lose, and then all of a sudden they're not undefeated anymore, and that makes the conference look bad. So, I don't give two shits because my loyalty's to my team, but in terms of making your conference look strong, I mean that's what you got to do. You got to play these really tight, really strong, games that really draw the fan base in, and the people that don't care in the Midwest or don't care in the Northeast or the Pacific Coast, they're just drooling to get another big time ACC, SEC, whatever game, And I get that. That's part of where this whole ranking shit comes from. This whole power conference bullshit comes from. You gotta not only have to make a team great, but then you gotta do it again and again and again and again and again. You gotta do this. You gotta do this every year for short of you going undefeated in a sort of a fluky season and happening to sort of stumble your way into a national title game, and then ultimately win the national title. You gotta go. What you have to do is you have to go undefeated in a season, not play for a national title, and then the following season you follow that up with either we're not counting conference championship games when I talk about wins. You end up winning, say, 11 games. You end up losing one game all season, and you end up missing out on again. And then the following year you go undefeated, or you go undefeated for like 2 years, and then at that point, you won 24 games in a row, or however many. Let's see here, that'd be 13, let's just say 14 times 2. So you've won 28 games in a row. Yeah, you would more than likely not be left out of a national title at that point, winning 28 in a row, unless you played in like the Sun Belt or something like that. But anyways, and then again, as part of all this, then you gotta win again, and you gotta win again, and you gotta win again, and so like to truly be considered a dominant team that people expect you to, basically carry the conference, you have to win multiple national titles and or compete for national titles every year for a half decade or longer. And I mean legitimately, compete where, you win 11 games or you win 12, say you lose a really close game to a really strong opponent like a Florida State, or it could be anyone, that also only loses 1 or 2 games, and you lose it because a wide left or wide right, that becomes a whole thing where if you're on the winning side, it's like the most glorious thing ever, and if you're on the losing side, you'll never be able to live down wide right or wide left, because essentially that one kick possibly cost you a chance at a national title. So I don't know which is worse. This is sad. He ate all my Pikmins right there. I'm gonna try to beat this guy before the end of this mission. If I can do that, we'll pop the part and I'll be able to just kind of... What's the word? I can worry about, picking up the part next time instead of having to fight him. But I only got 10 seconds, so it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. Alright, let's just run away. pissed off now. When I see a Pikmin engage in fierce battle with other creatures of this world, I often grow uneasy, wondering why they never attack me. Could it have been they actually view me as a parental figure? A strange, disturbing thought. I have now received 24 of 30 parts. I'm on day 20. So we are good right now, but need to keep moving. Trying to think here. What kind of parts are left? That one, that one. There's 2 there that I could think of. I'll have to take a look at my map here in 1 sec. There's you, and you, and you. 3. 3, 4. Ah, there they are. They're all over there. Okay, so we'll have to make our... I need water guys. And then some red guys as well. My last mission message talked about why the hell the Pikmin follow them. I'm hoping it's not... And I don't know what the actual lore reason is because I haven't played any other Pikmin games. I mean, this is the first time through Pikmin 1, and I've never played Pikmin 2 or 3, and I know 4 just came out. Or it's coming out. But here's the point I'm trying to make. I hope it's not because Olimar is a little bit taller than all the Pikmin. Or that maybe it's because he's got that little, like, glowy thing on his helmet. And it makes him look like a Pikmin or something. I don't know what the reasoning is. I'm guessing it's probably has something to do with his helmet and the little glowy thing on the top of his helmet. But there's also a good chance that they're doing the Invader Zim thing where Olimar's the tallest, so he's the leader because he's taller than everybody else. It's kind of bullshit, but you know, if you're gonna have a stupid reason for something, I guess that would be a good stupid reason to have something. Probably should have brought in more red Pikmin. 23 doesn't seem like enough red Pikmin. Seems pretty good. Turn around. Alright, now try and suck me up so I can run around the side. Pretty good, I guess. Just short. Trying to take him out in 3. He heals a little bit as time goes by. Kind of weird to me. Yippee, we killed him. Dead now. Discovered the... That's the top of your ship. That's an important part. Probably the last important part that's left, to be honest. Not sure why I recalled them there, considering they were like right above the 30 threshold. So like, I wasn't really doing myself any favors by holding back these 3 yellow Pikmin. Not sure what I was thinking there. Oh. Pikmin here. Up, that one goes all the yellow Pikmin I just had. I think we'll switch over to blue Pikmin after this. So-called phase dolphin. In point of fact, I designed it. I have now discovered 25 or 30 parts. If I can find 4 more, I'll be able to increase my ship's capabilities. And I could use all those blue Pikmin. It's unfortunate because it's going to waste a chunk of my day. I just brought the red Pikmin with me. I could have had them assigned to taking the rest of the way back. But I dismissed them. I said, nah, I don't need you anymore. I'm too good for you, red Pikmin. Let's drop off our Yellow boy. Come back, we'll pick the blue Pikmin when we come back. Do we need to go that way? Do that? Might be able to get 2 more items here. Got half a day. If I split my blue Pikmin up, I might be able to pull both of them. Alright, at last, my pilot seat. Once I get this installed, my cockpit will finally be back in order. Soon my ship will be starting to look more like the dolphin of old. Ah, the memories. You know, sneak around back. Perfect. On my number 2 item jet, easy on the eyes, fuel efficient, easy on the budget. Alright, I did that, good. What do I want to see? If I get this other part back. Pilot seat, picturing this cockpit from images gives me lifting off into space begins with... Picturing this in the cockpit, image of me lifting off into space begins to fill my tax brain, fills me with inspiration once again. I've recovered 26 of 30 parts. If I can find 3 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. So there's one up there, one there. These are the 3. I think I need to open up the wall. Don't remember doing that. Did I open up the wall? No, I did not. I need to do that. If I had waited a little bit longer on those blooms, the Pikmin would all be flowers now. Alright, they're bringing it around town.